Daenerys Targaryen is one of those characters whose destiny was always going to be a problem. From the moment we learned she was born in exile, we knew she would grow up believing herself to be the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Everything about her story pointed toward a confrontation with the Lannisters, the Starks, and anyone else who stood between her and her birthright. And while the show gave her plenty of opportunities to sit on the Iron Throne, it didn't necessarily give her the chance to do it as Queen Consort or even Queen Mother. But long before Daenerys ever set foot in Westeros, a prophecy was made that would set the stage for all of her future heartaches. And when that prophecy finally comes true, it will send ripples across the Seven Kingdoms. So join us as we explore the full impact of the prophecy of Azor Ahai and how it will change everything for our Khaleesi. Setting the scene, we see Daenerys riding high on recent victories. Perhaps she and her armies have just taken back the city of Herat from the slavers. Maybe she's heard a raven from Samwell with news from Oldbert, or maybe it was Bran having a vision and sending a raven to Samwell, who then delivered it to Jon, who then delivered it to Dana, who was none the wiser as to what exactly was written in that letter. But now she stands poised to inherit the throne of the Seven Kingdoms. Rhaegar and Lyanna's son is dead, which means that she, the daughter of Aerys II, is now the last remaining Targaryen with a legitimate claim to the Iron Throne. Her initial reaction might be to simply laugh off the idea. After all, she has been fighting for years to take back her birthright, and the thought of someone else taking it from her is unthinkable. In fact, she might even become angry, lashing out at the messenger who dared to suggest otherwise. There's no way she could possibly be related to Jon Snow. She had been sold into marriage with him when she was only 13 years old. Illyrio Mopatis couldn't possibly be her uncle, and certainly Rhaegar wasn't her father. As the truth slowly begins to sink in, we might catch a glimpse of the dawning realization on her face, a subtle widening of the eyes, a hand clenching into a fist. Even if the messenger is quick to leave, she probably doesn't need him to explain what this means for her claim to the Iron Throne. As the weight of the information hits her, her face might contort in a visceral betrayal. It's Jon, her lover, who is also her nephew and a potential rival for the throne. She might feel betrayed by the gods themselves, wondering why they would do this to her after everything she sacrificed to fulfill the prophecy. If there's any doubt left in her mind about her parentage, it might be extinguished by a fleeting but chilling echo of madness in her eyes. We haven't seen it since the Mad King, but for a moment Daenerys looks like Aerys II staring into the abyss. But whatever doubts she might have felt earlier are gone now. This is a defining moment for Daenerys. The dreams she's had her entire life, the sacrifices she's made, the battles she's fought, they were all for nothing. The person she loves more than anyone in the world is her enemy, and if she wants to sit on the Iron Throne, he'll have to die. Of course, we know that things won't go quite so smoothly. Before we get to that point, there's a lot of Game of Thrones to cover. She's going to spend a good amount of time mulling over her options, trying to figure out what to do next. But if she reveals her knowledge of the prophecy, it would throw the entire Seven Kingdoms into chaos. Everyone would know that she's the last Targaryen with a legitimate claim to the throne. And if she doesn't reveal it, well, then she'd have to find a way to deal with Jon without tipping her hand. Either way, this is going to be a difficult choice for her to make, and the repercussions will be felt for generations to come. Here is where we see the gears turning in Daenerys' mind as she tries to figure out what to do. Next, she might remember every strategic alliance she's made, every battle plan she's concocted, every claim she's fought for, all of it called into question by this single revelation. She might feel the crushing weight of her destiny bearing down on her, knowing that the path ahead is fraught with peril. She immediately fears not just for her heart, but for her crown. The fear is palpable, her eyes wide with worry as she realizes the true heir has been among them all along. It's a cruel twist of fate that the very person she trusts most would also be her greatest enemy. And as she struggles to come to terms with this new reality, we see a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. She's never been one to show weakness, but now she can't help but wonder if there's anything she could have done differently. We might see a vision of her past self, a younger, more innocent version of herself, who had no idea that the prophecy would lead to such heartache. It's a haunting reminder of the price she has paid for her beliefs and the sacrifices she has made along the way. But this isn't the time for regrets. The Game of Thrones is still being played, and she has to be ready to fight for her place in it. The thing about Daenerys is that she has always been willing to bend the rules when it suits her, so it's hard to imagine that she wouldn't at least consider breaking them completely. Now that she knows the truth of Jon's parentage, she's probably aware that he's the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. But does she really have to accept that? Maybe she'll decide that she doesn't. Maybe she'll choose to keep fighting for the throne, even if it means betraying the person she loves most in the world. It's not an easy decision, but we know that Daenerys is capable of making tough choices when push comes to shove. In fact, it's what makes her such a compelling character. But this time, the stakes are higher than ever before. If she chooses to fight for the throne, she'll be fighting against her own family member. And if she refuses to do that, well, then she have to give up on her lifelong dream. Now, let's not forget that paranoia is a common symptom of grief, and grief is something that Daenerys has never had to deal with before. She has always been in control, always confident that she was fulfilling her destiny. But now that destiny has been taken away from her, she might start to see enemies everywhere. Who else knew about the prophecy? Who was planning to use Jon as their pawn? Who was plotting against her all along? These questions might keep her up at night, and she could end up spending less time ruling and more time worrying about the past. It's a shame, really, because Daenerys doesn't deserve any of this. She's worked too hard, sacrificed too much to be treated this way. But then again, life rarely rewards the most deserving with happily ever afters. In a moment of quiet reflection, amidst all the turmoil and uncertainty, a glimmer of empathy might cross her face as she thinks of Jon and the burden he's been carrying for most of his life. It's a fleeting emotion, quickly replaced by the harsh realities of their situation. But for a brief moment, she sees him not as a rival for the throne, but as a fellow victim of circumstance. And that's when the true gravity of the situation hits her. She and Jon are bound together by blood, by duty, and by a shared destiny. But that destiny has been shattered, and now they must pick up the pieces. The irony is that this is probably the one moment in her life when she needs Jon the most, yet their relationship has become a battlefield. There's no easy answers here, and whatever she decides to do next will have far-reaching consequences. But as the sun sets on another day in the Game of Thrones, one thing is clear. The revelation of Jon's parentage has changed everything for Daenerys. She's lost more than just a lover. She's lost a piece of herself. Ultimately, Daenerys has two paths in front of her. She can either embrace the prophecy and accept Jon as her nephew and rival, or she can defy it and try to seize the throne for herself. But either way, it won't be easy, and the consequences of her decision will ripple across the Seven Kingdoms for generations to come. What do you think she'll do? Let us know your theories below. Will she choose fire and blood or love and duty? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, this is just the beginning. Thank you for watching. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an upload. Until next time, keep playing till the very end.